It is therefore very good that this practice has been versified, translated, and is practiced in various countries nowadays. And then if you really know that, then whatever activities you engage in, they really will become very powerful. And now regarding the great empowerment, Lama Tsering has really worked very hard to organize this, because in general it is extremely difficult to actually confer such an empowerment. But disciples really had a great aspiration to receive it, so I will give this empowerment so everyone can rejoice. But it's also important in the future that you continue to learn and engage in practice. And that is whether you meet together with 7 or 8 disciples or by yourself, the power is exactly the same, just like practicing in a retreat. So in any case, in the future, it is just important that you continue to engage in practice.
주는 심진군제 약대 로마나마 기디난 거에 근데 너들 보고 다 사지사를 찾지들이야 왕쇼고 주는 심진군 주는
Please repeat.
주는 심진 군지 약대 연명이 조지 다락 낙소 육바 제례족 조외 왕보 접순 주지 농알셀 감섬 동지 제외 제주 제오종
So we have actually already repeated that one yesterday, and so basically what we don't have to repeat it now in English, but what we say is we are praising to the offering a praise to the deity and say, you are like the father of all sentient beings, and you are also like the mother of all sentient beings, and so you're the one who protects all sentient beings from all suffering. So it's a praise to the great power. You're the most powerful or most exalted being among all sentient beings. So you are the one who empties the 3 realms of samsaric existence.
Garchen Chodak Dunbade Lopen Chune Gongsosor Jangchup Chenbu Serdinba Gunbo Chenbo Dantalo Damtsel Deni Dalator 장척 샘장 다라솔 상제 주당 견둔제 잡섬 다장 다라솔 Tarpa, Chamber, Chongchodo, Gumbu, Yukdaso.
Then we repeat that in English. Please repeat. Great joyful one, my teacher, master, please consider me, supreme master, who guides on the path to great awakening. Please grant me samaya, grant me the mind of awakening, grant me the three refuges of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Protector, let me enter the exalted city of great liberation.
Dritata, Chapsum Taka Dara Sorji, Dumti. Kochosum Masor Jerochi, I said, Jabio Mari, call me Jab no way, Samotanga, Jabio Mari, Kari, Sunti Pama, Gigging, Jacob, the Japu, the Jap Tokuyoma around me pocket. The Sayong Cholon doubling to make a no such a Jap Tokuyoma. Shiran is the Dadi, the such a Jap Tokuyoma. The little Jabdi Domba Shisana. Sanji Lamtini, Chuchiba, the Sanji, the Dapo job, then Sanji, the Dapo Jana, same Kawasan Sanji, the Trotokuri. There is Sanji, Chute, Chase Sanji, the Dapo Jana Conquer, Rang job Tokuri, Nekam Tori Darda, Tatok Sanjis on Mugo in the Tokuri. Or Tiltin Sanji, the Dapo Majab, Marco Joseph Jabby Doma shoe job dinner, Flag job to the crying or last him of the Yoman, Toya Yomari. The only some of them now bag job to don't bag job to talk about the Taki Tango, Sajik, Coco Carter, Taki Tangos. Sick kid, I was saying to the Taki told Demar in America. Oh, job to the Washington to some much about the job, 2 round of Lumatana. Carry, oh, just some talks and somebody, and he gets Zuba Lumatana. To good to make up Toddy and Tato Sajik Compang. Ramji got top door, Ben Chowram to Ramji told the short over. Only Japan to Yishikin, that legend really chicken by Jerry. One touches of some handsome round about the Japson in Yongore. 3 till Tontam, what I'm about shaker. Don't need it, Tangali, control my jammy the Terochi, that jammy actually controls the rate. Oh, Sajik lumped in your rate. Lamp in something that the body of the tree. That would have a tap critical, or tap getting subject to Namichi, getting subject to torture. Then also giving to the judge of what they are torture, giving or Teddy Gigi, Teddy, that they are taking your 10 last of Ya, say some something he did that was a chill Martina, the Wajato your that's not an oh, 10, there thing, 3 or 7 mango, 10 to put it. Saman he did the body of Chia, Muni Jacodos, Munitaki, Hako Tokuri, Niapore, Maria, Tesom go, there is Chite Bazo. Then one got on Sama, dinner and Doyore, that much education over it.
So now we have just requested the threefold refuge, and that's actually the essence of the empowerment, really. So we seek refuge in the 3 jewels because we lack refuge. And so first here we need to see whether or not that is a suitable source of refuge, or can we also find some kind of refuge in samsara, in this life. If we really think about it, we might think that our parents or our teachers or country provide some sort of refuge to us. But actually they cannot really protect us because things happen without us having any control over them. For example, there might be an earthquake or a flooding and so on. So basically, for as long as self-grasping has not come to an end, we cannot really be protected. And so that is why we take the refuge vow and rely on the three jewels. The Buddha who has taught the path, which is the Dharma, and that actually is nothing but love and compassion. So taking refuge in the Dharma is to sustain love and compassion, which becomes your actual refuge. Wherever your mind goes, you will be protected if you sustain love and compassion. In this way, you are actually protecting yourself. And if you sustain that mind of love, then temporarily you will take birth in the higher realms, and ultimately you will attain the state of enlightenment. Even if you were to say, I don't want to, you can't help but to attain it. On the other hand, if you do not sustain love and compassion, but you just come and say, I seek refuge in the three jewels or the deity, this is not how you can be protected. Then in this way, the deity or the three jewels cannot be together with you. So when we actually take the refuge vow first within Buddhism, it's very important to really examine how or whether or not we really are protected. The Buddha himself had said, you have to examine my words. You have to polish them or examine them, take them apart, just like rubbing on gold and so forth. Is it true or is it not true? So when we take the refuge vow, it is said that we are protected until attaining enlightenment if we do not forsake the refuge vow. And what that means is that we do not forsake love, compassion, and patience. And if you sustain that, then naturally, even if you're not hoping for it, you will attain the temporary birth in the higher realms and ultimately enlightenment. It is just like an ice block will naturally melt when it encounters heat. So if you really begin to understand this and trust that this is the actual refuge, then you have really developed trust in karma, cause and effect. And that is the essence of those three levels of the path, the Pratimoksha, Bodhisattva, and the Vajrayana. Even though there is much to be said about that, that's really the essence of it. So when we seek a refuge, then our best source of refuge, therefore, are the three jewels. So the Buddha had taught the Dharma, which is the path of love and compassion. It is the method. And the Sangha is the one who helps us to practice this method, to sustain this method. The Sangha gives us the refuge vow and introduces us to the method. And for example, a worldly teacher may show us ways to achieve happiness in this life, for example, scientific teachers and so on. But our spiritual teacher shows us the path to happiness in all future lifetimes. And that is by cultivating love and compassion. In other words, if you do not practice the holy Dharma by sustaining love and compassion, then there is no way you will find happiness in this and future lifetimes. So when you really think about it and you find that now and in all my future lifetimes, love and compassion is my actual refuge, then you really have developed trust. And that is also called trusting faith. So it's something you can understand by really thinking about it. And when you really understand, you will be free of any doubts of whether or not refuge can be granted and happen. And when you're free of doubts, then you have developed this trusting faith. And that really is the essence of the empowerment. So everything that we need to know really is complete within these words. So for this reason, it's very important to recognize their meaning.
Kuncho,
Concho,
Sumla,
Sum,
Da Japchi,
Dan Gyamchi,
Degba,
Tekpa,
Mege,
Meke,
So Sha,
Sososha,
Drove,
Dove,
Gela,
Gela,
Ji Rang,
Jeyerang,
Sangje,
Sanke,
Changche,
Changchang,
Yi Ji Zong,
Yikisong,
Sangje,
Sanke,
Chu Dang,
Chedang,
Chom Chola,
Changchola,
Changche,
Changchang,
Barta,
Bardo,
Da Jamchi,
Dan Gyamchi,
Rangjin,
Rangshin,
Dongyi,
Tani,
Rabdrupser,
Ramdruksa,
Changche,
Changchang,
Semne,
Semna,
Ji Barje,
Kemparki,
Changche,
Changchang,
Choge,
Choke,
Semne,
Semna,
Ji Ji Ne,
Chekene,
Semjin,
Semchen,
Tamje,
Tamchen,
Daki,
Taki,
Rongte Nyer,
Tantane,
Changche,
Changchang,
Zhum Cho,
Chenchok,
Yi Yong,
Yewong,
Ji Barji,
Kemparki,
Rola,
Dola,
Pinse,
Pensa,
Sangje,
Sanke,
Drabbarsho.
Dombasho. Please repeat. I take refuge in the three jewels and confess all evil and unvirtuous deeds. I rejoice in the virtues of all beings and hold the Buddha's awakening in mind until attaining awakening. I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly in order to fully accomplish the purpose of others and myself. I give rise to Bodhichitta, having given rise to the mind of supreme awakening. I welcome all beings. I will practice the supreme Bodhisattva conduct that is pleasing to all. May I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all beings.
Lade ich alle Lebewesen ein, zu mir als Gast. Ich werde mich üben, in dem besten Bodhisattva handeln, das zum Gefallen aller wird. Möge ich zum Wohl der Lebewesen das vollkommene Buddha-Erwachen erlangen.
Nitadane, Nitjambidoma, Jibase Sandiri, Tektonadi, Teddy Jambidoma, Husarasana, Jambidoma, Husana, in some thing in some rammed to choke. They may choke you might really Jambidoma, the Jambidoma, Sancho, something you think. Oh, not the new, but doing it, new, but doing something you think you take Jambidoma, short about it. Zapping the wasn't something sorry. The two nature must take something double jash, something you got double jazz over your. Oh, control some question your thing. To me, same Shadang shadow or the chosen thing, Jabusula, or missed something double jazz or it. Another land over Tamaka or it. Touch on took Jabidoma, something is Zuba double jab. Shingle Gabra, what he did, or Yimaka, you got already by the Southeast Zuba, double Jason, Jabu Dobaka Tatoa. So is Zuba goes on the Domakan Tatoa theory. It's a young thing, law, dark law, and go over the Jazzy, the one created Mambo Siri.
So this was the extensive taking of refuge, and you might think that I've already taken the refuge vow. But if you have taken the refuge vow, it is said that at least 3 times throughout the 3 periods of the day and 3 periods of the night, so throughout the 6 periods of day and night, you have to remember the refuge vow. Or at least every day in the morning, you have to remember it. And what you have to remember here is actually the quality of love and the faults of self-grasping and the afflictive emotions that lead to suffering. If you bring that to mind, that's actually the supreme refuge vow. All the happiness in this world comes from love. And the actual refuge vow really is to sustain love with a mind of patience. So if you just think that I know the 3 jewels, I've taken refuge, but still you become controlled by anger and jealousy, then you have really lost the essence of your refuge vow. So actually what you need to do is you need to sustain it, your love, with patience. So there's much more to it, but for people like myself, it is difficult to know all the details. But ultimately, if you have patience that protects love, you are like a wooden cup that can't break. Ordinary beings are like a porcelain or glass cup that easily breaks. So the ultimate refuge vow is to sustain love with patience. And that's the essence of all the vows, actually. So again and again, remember this, and also with that in mind, read out loud the refuge prayer so that you hear yourself reading it. And so I mentioned this again, but also in other empowerments, in each empowerment actually, this is actually explained again and again.
Diese Seite kann ich jedem gegenüber Mitgefühl, Bodhichitta in den Vordergrund stellt. Das ist den Weg des Buddha an Sie in diesem Sinne den Schutz aufsuchen.
Rinpoche only the mother there, ma hong ma gar ma sarvada mana. Aditi vena tuita ma hong pai so va sa begani. Agar kaya za ome sa va begani namo sarvada ta ba yo bi yo ma kan be sarvada ka de sa va. Imam Gagana Khan Jahanida Barinde Zoa Umazawa Be Galena Mazawa Dada Ba Yobijoma can be Asawa Daga Ugadi Zaba Imam Gagana Khan Jahanida Barinde Zoa Zawa Be Galena Mazawa Dada Ba Yobijoma can be Asawa Daga Ugadi Zawa Imam Gagana Khan Jahanida Barinde Zoa Somebody Hong Jana Hong Jana Baya Jahana Baya Alaya Ho Bagavi Bayara Daya Hong Vayu Somebody Hong Jana Jana Baya Jahana Baya Hong Anaya Ho Bagavi Bayara Daya Hong Sabada Hong Jana Hong Jahana Baya Hong Anaya Ho Bagaya Bayara Dada Hong Bear Kanana was Hoju Boss on Hassan Nicola. Neither Tower Ma where the Tata did that thing got them a draw to John Dodgy Kassan Ramba and go what's up by Jungle or Sabana Hong Jana Hong. Jana Jana by on the Oba and Bayara, that was a 나도 jambarsin zoe beteni soto tisong saje tamjin jambarsin ji nambala teri nabar chubong chupaje de pebyo so teni jidin da ngase di yakmaba ko yosa keling yosa.
And so now think that in the space before you appears principally in the center, Manjushri Yamantaka, surrounded by the Buddhas of the 10 directions and 3 times, all appearing in his form, in Yamantaka's form, and gathering around him like clouds. So then think that in their presence we are repeating the various promises, commitments.
Vor uns und über uns anwesend sein. In dieser erhabenen Gegenwart bringen wir dann unsere Bitten dar. Wohin können wir bereuen, dass wir Schlechtes getan haben, können gute Vorsätze fassen.
근데 갖다 지도적 제례다 갖다 통직 제례 근데 지도적 얼마리 대창이 적대에서 틀려나와서 제정여사에 다 보게 지도지는 또 지속 공부해 뽑아서 저 갖다 적제 하고 참 시작다.
So yesterday we repeated the 8 branches in Tibetan only. So it is quite long, and so since we already did it yesterday in Tibetan, so we will not repeat it again. But Rinpoche asked us to explain the meaning of it. Here the 8 branches is an elaborated form of the 8 branches. It says, I read it in English, to the Akanishta Dharmadhatu Pure Land of the 10 Directions, the unborn form of the Sambhogakaya, together with the Sangha children, the nature of the Nirmanakaya, I offer genuine prostration with body, speech, and mind. I give vast offering clouds of outer, inner, and secret offerings, actually arranged and mentally imagined, filling up the entire world. To all the Buddhas, the spontaneous completion of the 3 kayas, all the bodhisattvas and so forth, I make extensive offerings. All non-virtues committed with body, speech, and mind, overpowered by afflictions such as desire, I confess without exception before the 3 kayas, the Vajra blissful ones and the bodhisattvas. I rejoice in all the vast and profound meritorious accumulations of virtue of all the Buddhas of the 10 directions and 3 times, and all the bodhisattvas. However many Buddhas with perfected 3 kayas abide in the infinite, incalculable worlds throughout the 10 directions, those tamers of beings who abide in equipoise, I beseech you to turn the unsurpassed wheel of Dharma. All Sugatas of the 3 times who are passing beyond suffering, I supplicate you with my palms joined together, please remain for countless aeons for the sake of wandering beings and compassionately bring benefit to them. Those who have revealed their wisdom form from within the unborn nature, and to all the Buddhas, courageous tamers of beings who pervade everything with great compassion, I take refuge until awakening is reached. I perfectly and fully dedicate all the virtues of prostrating, making offerings, confessing negativities, and so forth toward attaining unsurpassed and great awakening.
Mit der Herzenshaltung des Bodhichitta-Moses dar. Was in mir an geballter Gemütsstörung und Ungeschick vereint ist, beginnend mit Gier, Anklammern allen, die als Bodhisattvas hier anwesend sind, gestehe ich all diese meine Missetaten ausnahmslos ein und bereue sie. Die in den 10 Richtungen des Raumes und in den 3 Zeiten sich befindenden, erwachten die Buddhas allesamt zusammen mit den Bodhisattvas, den Siegerterben und all jenen, die als Lebewesen in großer und weitreichender Form oder tiefgründig Gutes getan haben, in all diese Menge des Guten, das überall und irgendwo geschehen, stimme ich von Herzen ein. Wo immer in den 10 Richtungen des Raumes sich Weltsysteme befinden, deren Zahl unsere Vorstellungskraft bei weitem übersteigt und unermesslich ist, und wie viel immer darin jene als Buddha Erwachte sich befinden, die vollkommen die 3 Kayas, Dhammakaya, Sambhogakaya und Nirmanakaya, spontan in sich vereinen, wo immer sie sein und wer immer sie sein, richtet sich meine Bitte an Sie, dass Sie zum Wohle all der sterblichen Lebewesen, die in dieser Welt herumgetrieben sind, den Lehrzyklus der befreienden Transformation des Dharma in Bewegung setzen. Wer immer von Ihnen den Wunsch verspürt, dort als Sugata, als Erwachter in ein Nirvana hinwegzugehen, all jene aber bitte ich, dass sie bitte mit uns bleiben und zum Wohle aller Lebewesen grenzenlos lange mit uns sein, aus Mitgefühl das Wohl der anderen vollbringen. Im ungeborenen Zustand das Selbst, doch als den Weisheitskörpergestalt zeigen, aus großem Mitgefühl heraus, alles durchdringend, herzensmutige Sein, die den Geist der Lebewesen besänftigen, zu diesen, den Erwachten, den Buddhas, nehme ich Zuflucht, bis dass ich selbst das Herz des Erwachens erreiche. Was solche Art durch Gruß und Verneigen, durch Darbringen von Geschenk und Eingestehen der eigenen Missetat, durch sich mitfreuen mit dem Guten der anderen und all dieses Gute sei zum Wohle all der anderen, zu ihrem unübertrefflichen Buddha-Erwachen gewidmet. Solcher Art übe ich mich in vollkommenen, umfassenden und makellosen Widmen.
真的告诉人的往上往改善，还就平白的往上去动的，他就习惯了我的，这些还讲卡去了，这生命经一样的，这呢，这往你把起过来的，往托马上就肯定就给起过来的，生不着来过来，生不让往的，你透过了，啥时候生过你透过的。
So if you really understand this, then whatever empowerment of secret mantra you receive will be of great benefit, much greater benefit. And actually the meaning of all the empowerments really is the same. So these words are really extremely important, and you should bring them to mind again and again. then the power of receiving the empowerment will be so much greater. So in the beginning of the empowerment, the supplication where we take commitments and so on are very important. And the meaning of these supplications must actually arise in our mind. And this is how we attain the freedom of the mind. The freedom of the mind really is attained by cultivating the essence of the supplications, which is bodhicitta.
Malari bangka somebody that's sitting on the Malar Namtar could pay a Watari. The Nani some dodo, Namsa Langne, Namon Tobly Labia Janri, Bena, Tisa Kaila Verdina. Pampa just hold the job was say one, Pampa go to the say one race. They Yopat go, oh, Santos one, Rangle, listen, you are Tasha your dog, Santi Hakuna. This is Rani Shakers over Nangwang. Oh, Marani Shakur in your dog, so Hakor, Saka Tonkona, Rani Shakers over Nangwang. They go a charity. Simi Doru Chuba told you one, Simi Doru Chubadina. Oh, the one something is our Sanjay, somebody, somebody do. Dandy, you Terry didn't send to us, somebody Moshi, somebody hinted the Hakon. Tatok Dapoja Chukari, San Hako, the semi door to the door to the Popaka, made a Tojamna, Torosser Dojam Shirat Naramaris. Rubak or dog, you pin Nagari, send the Tochiba, the Maradi Tamate, Gimogisa, or the thing need to Chibor, send the Tochibo, then we knew how to say the top of your semi door to Batoja. Torosser Doshina. 제가 나가마가 도 루진 도 라를 볼키마 들이 나가 너나 초바시고 제거했어 하고 초바시고 제거해 초바시 때 맞는 래 대리 상이 되게 제가 하고 올라 말이지
좀 도로도 같은지
또 보용하세 제가 말을 너무 와 그것도 좀 너무 말해 되고 야와야 가서
There is one teaching by Milarepa that maybe many of you have seen because many of you like to read his life story and his songs of realization. And so actually his songs in general really explain the essence of practice really in a concise way, and they are all words of his own experience. So in there regarding the empowerment, Milarepa said, having the vase, the empowerment vase, placed onto your crown, that is the outer empowerment. And so then what happens when you receive the empowerment and the vase is placed onto your crown, then you should remember the essence, which is bodhicitta, and that when you have that, your body and mind all transform into the deity. And when you really understand that, then that's the inner empowerment. So Milarepa said, when your own body, when you recognize your own body as the form of the deity, that is the inner empowerment. So when you meditate on your own body as the deity, and so that's the inner empowerment. And then he said the actual or ultimate empowerment is when you when you hit kind of the rock bottom of the mind itself. And so what that means is that the root of all empowerments really is love and compassion, or immeasurable love. And that is the antidote to self-grasping. And for that, it is important here, for the actual empowerment, to really recognize, identify what that is, that you must feel that, you feel love and compassion, really experience it. And when you really experience it, then you will actually preserve it. You will hold on to it. And that is just like hitting rock bottom of the mind, which is, for example, when you just when you hit someone with a rock, maybe there is no special feeling, but if the rock actually hits your bone, then really a strong feeling, then it really hurts. And so not it what it refers to is when you receive the empowerment, an actual feeling and experience must arise. For example, if you understand it and just say that, oh, this is how it is, I know that, but there's no real experience and no real feeling of that arising, you don't really experience it, then you have not really understood the actual empowerment. So to understand the actual empowerment, such an act and a feeling of it, an actual experience must arise.
späteren Verlauf seines Lebens entwickelt hat, geprägt von Lebens- und Übungserfahrung, dass er es so kernig bündeln kann, wo beim Bewusstsein Stein auf Knochen trifft, dann ist dies der eigentliche Abhisheka. Es geht um eine ganz starke gelebte Empfindung. Es muss nicht nur ein Wissen, sondern eine gelebte, gefühlte Erfahrung sein. Wenn das der Fall ist, dann ist der eigentliche Kernpunkt des Abhisheka, des Verleihens von Befähigung, in uns lebendig geworden.
고조서도 사제가 도저소부 도저소부 동조제 집안 남제 시저가 담주 성종 빼마대 다녀도 빼마대 다른 거 집에 당을 보면서 뒤에 가는데 분주 사바 몽마 사바보다 다시 좀 삼보다 삼조 부모님 섬이 도로 삼대면 삼당 명미도 군시 삼대면 범미모 대다 자외도 주제제 기록 떨린다도 떨린 동의상으로 소중고로 또 대내진이나 주도 있습니다. 네, 이제 가져라 재미면은 주도 동안 너무 보고도 예지 라도 라체 벌어서 이제 다공 조당 고동동 인야 인나 동의 소진의 동바자전에 사회절로듯이 출자도 송와서 근데 동안 남랑 송이 저나 상마 동바 상기 다다 무슨 총고감이 따동지기 잡아진데 참말이 저요 디나나 발체 차기 요래 저는 저런 거 동바시 받으니 유모방 나요와 되게 용하고 제일 같이 와 대인보라더니 리보를 송한테는 뭔가 있는 줄 동물이 다들 그것이 자고 말이다 지금 지속요 말이
So now Rinpoche just listed the various vows, samayas of the empowerment, and basically all the vows are complete within the confession of the 14 tantric root downfalls that has been translated. And then there is also the vows of the 5 Buddha families, where in each Buddha family there is an antidote to each of the 5 afflictive emotions that refers to various activities that we engage in with body and speech and so on. And basically it is to transform the 5 afflictions into the 5 wisdoms. So we don't have much time now, so we won't go into the details of the list of vows mentioned here.
Darüber hinaus gibt es auch noch Vajrayana Vorsätze, die mit den 5 Buddha-Arten zu tun haben. Die Bedeutung davon ist, dass eigentlich alle die 5 Hauptgeistesgifte im Kern Buddha-Weisheit sind. Ursprüngliche Bewusstheit, und dass mit jeder dieser 5 Arten dann auch bestimmte Handlungsweisen hilfreich sind, sodass unser Handeln auch zu einem Gegenmittel wird, in einer Weise, dass es uns hilft zu verstehen, wie diese Geistes- und Gemütsstörung im Grunde eigentlich Weisheitsausdruck ist, dass wir so etwas halten und bewahren können. Wir haben nicht die Zeit, das im Einzelnen jetzt zu erläutern, aber auch das ist hier enthalten.
쫀디
Shandan,
사자
Saga,
설농소
Sunanso,
상제
Sangye,
상척
Sangcham,
선바남
Simpanam,
다라
Dala,
공발
Gongbar,
제더솔
Zedoso,
다맹
Damen,
노지
Vache,
선바
Sampa,
시제외
Shikivel,
두근데
Tente,
내내
Nene,
종내서
Songneso,
제시
Chese,
장척
Chancham,
닝부발
Nimbamba,
제딸
Cheta,
두섬
Tesam,
공보남
Pomponam,
장척
Chancham,
떠내
Tene,
인제배
Minzepe,
장척
Sancham,
샘내
Sene,
라다미
Laname,
담바
Tampa,
나기
Nake,
기발제
Kebanke,
서천
Sorcham,
주인의
Chene,
라빠당
Lapadam,
계외
Kewe,
주인의
Chene,
늘바당
Depadam,
샘지
Semchen,
동지
Dense,
서천섬
Sorcham Song,
소솔
Sosor,
띵볼
Tempo,
종화지
Songwarki,
상지
Sangye,
남졸
Namjor,
돈바라
Dambala,
상지
Sangye,
추당
Chedam,
게두때
Denden,
라나
Lana,
메베
Mepe,
운초섬
Bunchosam,
등내
Dene,
땀대
Tamte,
종화지
Songwanki,
노지
Dorche,
ren초
Rinjo,
침보라
Chimbola,
노지
Dorche,
저우
Jervo,
사자양
Sajayang,
양다
Yangda,
니더
Nido,
종화지
Songwarki,
로프
Lopen,
다장
Dajang,
종화지
Songwarki,
렌치
Rinchin,
렌초
Rincho,
침보에
Chimboye,
담색
Tamse,
이더
Yedo,
옹화라
Bongwala,
니레
Niren,
인더
Jindo,
두족더
Dendrokdo,
진바
Jimpa,
남제
Namkin,
따더진
Dado Jin,
장척
Chancho,
침보
Chimbo,
랩송워
Le Songwe,
빼매
Peme,
렉친
Ripchen,
닭발라
Takpala,
선왕
Sena,
쌍화
Sawa,
택바슴
Tekpasam,
담배
Tampe,
퀴는
Chene,
마루송
Malusong,
레지
Leki,
ren초
Rincho,
침보라
Chimbola,
돈바
Tomba,
탐지
Tamche,
니반네
Tempane,
양다
Yangda,
니더
Nido,
종화지
Songwarki,
추배
Chebe,
레장
Lekang,
제누제
Cheneke,
상초
Sancho,
샘네
Semne,
라나미
Laname,
담바
Tampa,
다키
Take,
깁기네
Kikine,
샘지
Senten,
군지
Dungi,
동지설
Dungise,
다기
Take,
돈바
Tomba,
마루송
Malusong,
마걸
Makar,
와남
Wana,
자르와지
Dralvaki,
마돌
Mador,
와남
Wana,
돌와지
Dralvaki,
옥마
Uma,
침바
Chimba,
옥용생
Oyongshin,
샘지
Simchen,
냥이
Nyangi,
내라고
Delago,
Bhagavan,
Please repeat, Bhagavan,
der du
whose form
großer Pracht
outshines with brilliance
alle anderen überstrahlt,
Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, please heed me, just as the Buddhas, after 3 times, gave rise to unsurpassed Bodhichitta, the mindset on awakening, so shall I,
in seinem Herzen
who am called Vajrasattva, give rise to Bodhichitta from today onwards and until attaining the heart of awakening I will firmly uphold the training in the disciplines
Herzensmut
of refraining
stehen ließen,
from negative actions,
auch von heute an
of practicing virtue,
diesen
and of
Herzensmut
benefiting beings.
entstehen lassen,
For the Buddha Yoga vow,
bis hin
from now
zum
onwards,
vollkommenen
I will follow
Drachen.
the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha,
Möge ich
the unsurpassed
die Übung
three jewels with the Samaya
der,
of the Supreme
durchführen,
Vajra
die mich
family.
zurückhält
I will hold
von aller Art
the
von
mudra
schlechtem Tun,
of Vajra and Bell as a
das
sign
Wohlverhalten,
of the ultimate nature.
das das Gute fördert
I will also adhere
und das Wohlverhalten,
to the Vajra Master
das
with the
Nutzen
delightful
anderer
Samaya of the great
in diesem
Ratna
Buddha
family.
Yoga
I will engage in
fasse ich den Vorsatz
the
inne,
4 types of generosity
Buddha, Dharma und
throughout
Sangha
the
zu
6
folgen,
times of day and night
den Unübertreffbaren,
with the Samaya
die selten
of the
austauschbar
Supreme
sind.
Pure Lotus family,
In dem
born
Herzensspanne
from Great
der
Awakening.
besten Vajra-Art
I will uphold all
werde
Dharma
ich
teachings
das Mudra
without exception,
von Vajra
the outer,
offenen
inner, and secret
als
vehicles
Zeichen
with the Samaya
der letztendlichen
of the
Grundnatur
Supreme Karma family.
bewahren.
I will truly uphold
Werde mich dem
each and every
Vajra-Meister
vow.
anschließen,
I will make offerings to whatever extent
in dem erfreulichen
I am able.
Herzensband
I will give rise
der
to
großartigen
sacred,
Ratna-Familie
unexcelled, supreme Bodhichitta
werde ich mich allezeit
for the sake of all beings.
6-mal
I will
am
fully
Tage
uphold
und zur
all
Nacht
vows
im
without
großzügigen
exception.
Gebet üben.
I will free those
Den
who are unfree.
Herzensband in der
I will
besten
liberate
Lotusart,
those not liberated.
entstanden
I will lift
aus
up
großem Buddha Erwachen,
those who are discouraged. I will
werde ich
establish all
die
beings
Dharma-Unterweisung
in Nirvana.
ohne Ausnahme bewahren. Die äußeren und inneren und die verborgenen Wege. In dem Herzensband der besten Karma-Art verspreche ich, alle Art von gutem Vorsatz einzuhalten. Ich werde Geschenke darbringen, in welch immer Ausmaß mir möglich ist. Ich werde den besten Bodhichitta, den wahren, unübertroffenen Herzensmut entstehen lassen. Zum Wohle aller Lebewesen werde ich alle Vorsätze ohne Ausnahme bewahren. Jene, die unfrei sind, werde ich befreien. Die zu befreien sind, die noch nicht befreit sind, werde ich zur Befreiung führen. Die Unerlösten werde ich erlösen. Alle Lebewesen werde ich in jenseits allen Leides führen.
그네 마가드 마도드 우마스네 오요시 문음 사족성 문음을 해자나 이성수고 생긴 토리를 제대로 상태로 밀어산 내가 소설을 남상 보면 줄에 강의 민동제들이 타면 사족성제를 매일 제성지 마가르 오마스마 오용제 이 등이라는 조대를 통해 사족성제 속으로 옥용제는 이 사족성제를 들이다 다 옥토바다를
So there were those last three sentences to free those who are unfree, liberate those not liberated, and lift up those who are discouraged. So that is basically a prayer of the Bodhisattvas of liberating sentient beings gradually. So in the first line, all those sentient beings who are in the lower realms are raised into the higher realms. And then secondly, those who have already taken birth in the higher realms then are established on the path. So they first enter the path of individual liberation, where they develop renunciation. And then those who have developed that already then are established on the path of cultivating bodhicitta. So this last line here, to lift up those who are discouraged, or actually literally give breath to those without breath, is those who are on the lesser vehicles then are helped to develop bodhicitta in their minds. And so developing bodhicitta is like being lifted or gaining breath.
나도 상황은 막잘 진고 요래 됐대 브리지 처리 심지 탐지의 샘디라 샘군대로 하고는 샘들은 나왔다고 다지니 매와 하고래 대 다지니 매와지 하고는 상에 대 하고 말 다지니 조선 지걸 대 말을 봐들 세군대로 봐도 니지 요래 그때 나라 드립니다 이제 이마 오, 다시 삼지 상계야 너서 하거나 그렇지 내가 하마 오지 득적들이 막 다니는 파사마다 파리버까지 대치 걸 소요복까지 오 세군대로 마도반디 말빨에 지다래 대고들이 막 다니는 거.
So next, please put on your blindfold, which is like auspicious for like a symbol, like in a way that we have not yet realized the nature of mind. So when you have realized the nature of mind, you realize it to be like space, and within that space you realize that there is no duality of self and other. But now, not currently, we don't know that. We don't know that we are actually non-dual. And we believe that self and other exist as separately existing individuals. And that is what we call ignorance. And that ignorance is represented by this blindfold. And later, when we remove the blindfold, then you should think that now these obscurations of ignorance are being removed. So here you realize that actually sentient beings can attain enlightenment. I just didn't know that before. So removing the blindfold, think that all the obscurations of not knowing non-duality are being removed. So that is the symbol of the blindfold. So now when we put it on, it represents our ignorance of non-duality.
다처럼 그게 사변이 거만 도저 말고 버려 다 대버 다음 마찬가지 중앙에 봐도 작게 배다 와라 마나야 홍사야로 보여 사이에도 가도 어디에 중앙에 대바물라 카위라 홍메도도 참바르송지 아까미라고 저거저 사도로 보 이름이 배터가는 저거 줘서 레제시제 주베 그는 차리제 바면도 엄마가라로 봐야 말한다 홍바요 가라로 봐야 말한다 홍바요 엄마가라로 봐야 말한다 홍바요 가라로 봐야 말 홍바 제 버주서이 자라가 지내게 저와니 베테 동자 서인시바는 특별히 좀 강거적인 시바는 자라가 시바송 무적 강동의 와 인세에 대일린도 초랑남다 특별히 뭐 상하진 도다데 까바상보이 까바상보지 대신시지 베시 동의 와 대달린데 비고요네 네오 간단다 야시보를 가오자 까바상보이 대로 렌데고에
So at this point, then the Vajra master is asking the disciples, what do you wish for? And then the disciple responds, like the fortune. I'm a fortunate one, and I desire the samadhi of great bliss or bliss emptiness, which is the actual cause of attaining supreme Buddhahood, or which is the actual samaya.
버조서이 자라가 가르상다 디와시월라오 가르상다 디와시월라오 까바상보 인지 디와시월 가지 린데냐.
So now the Vajra master asked us, what do you wish? And we have responded, I am a fortunate who wishes or desires great bliss. I'm a fortunate one who desires great bliss. That should be our answer now.
Oh, yeah. 대동은 땡땡 대저 주로 제롱시 저와요 뭐 대인데 대동은 땡땡은 상지 조르바 담색고지 장도 대이 벌라 제식사지 사지 초고 담색고들인데 저 내가 뭐 가르치기 이제 대 사지 상지지 담색이 그래서 사지사 더 담색이 사지 초고 담색고 그 대이 벌라 제식사지 다그도 상지 초고 담색고.
So the next question is then, so what do you want with this great bliss? And then the answer to that is, I want to have the samaya, which leads to the state of supreme awakening.
다 상지고나더니 다하기 생각하더니 다 구독 삼지 삼지 요 삼지 거를 다가가고 그냥 가만 요구상 제가 지역으로 또 남구 사축 청공을 노지가고 제가마다 충충만 내자도 요구상들이 곰들 대곰들 거래지.
And so in order to attain a state of enlightenment, then now you visualize at your heart a white moon disk, like a full moon, that has the nature of the relative Bodhichitta, which is love. And in the center of it, on top of this, there is white 5-pronged vajra that is very small, just like a rice grain, and it represents the ultimate Bodhichitta.
Wir haben sie vielleicht noch nicht in großer Form, vielleicht in einer kleinen Form, aber bereits schon in uns angelegt. So sollten wir denken.
대 무엇이다 무슨 요래 대고 주제가 요래 근데 주 삼지의 오는 이 삼지에다 정되나 이 셈이 이제도 상제래 셈이도 꼭 다지기는 시래지 진호를 저 빼를 이버스지 돌지 땡 봐요 고한테 돌지를 다 시간 상도 요래 동대래 사도 공부만 ram지대 내요래 너는 설명상제 어디 사람지 됐다 요래 선진 피고 상대 선동완이도 돌지당 그것도 나와서 상제한 거.
And so here we are actually being introduced to how things really are in the natural state. So that is when you cultivate love, then that is your true nature. So the nature of mind, the basis already is the Buddha. It is the state where self and other are non-dual. It is primordial wisdom. And to show that, we visualize, for example, this 5-pronged vajra. And within that, actually, the 5 wisdoms are complete. So the point is that here we are not actually visualizing something new, but we are being introduced to the natural state as it already is. So when you cultivate love, then all these qualities naturally arise. So that is the wish to benefit sentient beings. The Vajra here represents the empty nature of mind, and on the relative level, the moon, for example, represents the essence of love.
Buddha-Herzensmut im Sinne eigentlicher Wirklichkeit ist. Diese wird durch einen Vajra repräsentiert, dessen 5 Zeichen auch daran erinnern, dass alle Geistesstörungen zu jeder Zeit die 5 Arten von Buddha-Weisheit aufsetzen. Und so mag man daran denken, dass im eigenen Herzen dort auf einer Vollmondscheide ein solcher Vajra sich befindet, als Zeichen dessen, dass Bodhichitta in beiderlei Ausprägung bereits schon in uns ist. Das Wichtige daran ist aber nicht die Vorstellung, sondern die Gewissheit oder Zuversicht, dass wir von derselben Baurasse die Fähigkeit des Buddha-Wachens schon in uns angelegt sein muss und wir allein es bisher nicht bemerkten und jetzt darauf aufmerksam gemacht werden müssen.
오면서 요거다 어바다야 메어 사데 사데 서마야 동호 스데메데 다서 감 장조 되지와도 이제 세계 로제 되지와도 이 초도서와도 주지적으로 많이 원하는 마음에서 마대받는나요 마이노 아야미 다지다 홍배 홍자 홍 서와다 다가나 거라잖아 베자서도 베라다나 베자리나 베드라다마 베다가마 우파 사사나 아마나나야 다야메 온사와
Amsarva,
다타
Tata,
가타
Kata,
고르
Guru,
따라나
Sarana,
베자
Benza,
사도
Sato,
베로
Vero,
따나
Chana,
베달 Rena, Bedar, Dharma, Bedar, Karma, Upa, Satana, Ya, Amma, Nam, Nriya, Dayami. Kosum, Sangye, Tamje Tang, Changchup, Semba, Chemborje, Yune, Dene, Gongsa Sor, Dani, Changchup, Ningbola, Namje, Neje, Bartata, Chancho, Chode, Semjije, Ramjin, Dakpe, Chunite, Ngupo, Mepe, Ngowoni, Toni, Devjin, Nibienle, Tene, Rincho, Dombazong, Duma, Sepe, Sancho Sem, Jenga, Mebe, Ramjin Che, Yermi, Namdo, Gunjompe, Dorji, Rincho, Dombazong, Nyamba, Nige, Ramjin Le, Yudin, Tamje, Rinjope, Lamdor, Mepe, Chanchok Sem, Rinchi, Rincho, Dombazong, Chukang, Zhema, Mibengang, Zhuje, Magu, Osarve, Ranker, Zini, Manjizo, Peme, Rincho, Dombazong, Lami, Sanchok, Semjencho, Tukji, Tabror, Jeryang Nang, Paror, Sinso, Chu Tamje, Leje, Rincho, Dombazong, Taye, Semji, Gundong Ser, Sanchok, Chode, Daksemji, Domba, Malu, Zongwarje, Minsong, Dagi, Jowarji, Korwa, Dagi, Jowarji, Gyoye, Lere, Wokyongje, Semjin, Malu, Tamje Gun, Dagi, Sanchok, Cholangu. 아주 거기서 어디 집어요, 벌써. 너는 산책 셈 정도는 일 피고서는 로티 정도 참아 열에 진짜 조금 말이다. 주요 말이.
So these words actually have the same meaning as the previous supplication, and that is to the importance of holding on to Bodhichitta, that is the wish to benefit others. So we don't have so much time now, so we will not repeat that again, but it has the same meaning as the previous supplication.
땡초 대비 지과 탐비절도 조제 비나에 졸라 도지시 지바사 대시 관계 초대비 제과 도제용으로 통한잖아 무접이나 다음에 제고 추지장 나이걸 막 통과 남제들다 아마다 dem네나 초답선이 발절다래 om대는 잠버시지지 추진형라야다 저 가대선들이나 내 대마타도 잘대정나 추진야가 저 동생이나 서버서 동생소나 무릎 도지도도 저도도 사마다바나 다도 산촉습도 속세야 뭐 당시 다 주바공지 다 제가 세우나 대해서 고소를 하는데 또 세우는 르드세크 요면 sem도 마세는 타와요리 그래서 애니들 고소를 하는들이 다 르야세요 생어세요 인성은 이가 남든 도요리 르세송 셈마시는 저 타와톱로요리 세속요 말에 대해주 소를 되는 산촉습가 했어.
So the meaning of this is that even at the cost of my life, I will not give up bodhicitta. I will practice patience by all means. Therefore, even if someone were to come and threaten to kill me, I would not get angry, because even if you kill my body, if you don't kill the mind, then there is liberation. If you get angry, then it is like killing your body and your mind. And then both of you together will go to the 3 lower realms. But if the body is killed, but the mind is not, then you will attain liberation. So then through bodhicitta, you will attain liberation. So therefore, here we should think that even at the cost of my life, I will not forsake bodhicitta.
om대는 저와 시지시 조제 정량하다 조가 가르들을 내네 디마르도 저리 증들을 주연자가 저 답태이 넘나서 봐서야 다들은 거좀 도지도 쳐도je 비다 암날 가다가 차 자 등리도 주제 잡아야 시선방 가인 정에 대지 강과도 주사구도 주저만은 예방다데 주고 양가만 봐봐 저거 되더라도 연주와 저다리 로마게 저거 동이 저기도 아래서 와서도 이제 예마바 예비마다 요때 요와도 버도 예 장거 진바 이거고 예 대비 식바 탐제제 생지 롭셰 잠발 이시 선바 바라 왑드소 대기 식바 탐제제 생지 롭셰 잠발 이시 선바 바라
Please repeat. All Tathagatas, please grant blessings. Wisdom being, Manjushri, please descend upon me.
로맨이가라는 사회적으로 들어보러 제도지 나 로만도 이게 그러니까 도지도 홍대 곰 다리 도지가 보때 거기 홍대 곰들은 막만 보여지 그래서 이거 말이 다 막나게 공조 그래서 막좀더 거기서 막 마시베 막다만 걸 막좀 들이 홍대 곰 들이 나는 나 관이 차법하는지 들이 사제서 산속생활 막고요 소소 버텨고요 상태가 오고 온다는 거예요. 다리 나베트는 도지 충충 거라 도지 이게 홍고도 초거래 홍가보 고들이 초거래 뭔가 홍가보.
So then now visualize at your heart the from before, the moon disk upon which there's a vajra, in the center of which is a white hong. And actually, there is a lot of visualizations here in the text, but it's difficult to visualize. So Rinpoche says, I will visualize that on your behalf. And in the meantime, you can close your eyes for as long as you are wearing the blindfold and just visualize. You can actually just visualize a white hong syllable at your heart and imagine that the Bodhichitta of all the Buddhas falls down like rain and then dissolves into your body.
Sein konzentriert auf das Hum in diesem Vajra, auf den Mond und dann in der Vorstellung, dass von allen Seiten alle Tathagatas mit ihrer Segenskraft heraneilen, diese in uns hineinströmen und dass wir mit ihnen eins und ununterscheidbar werden.
나다 가색 장모체다 이라지기 속되게 속로는 좀 가져라지기 내용을 가색배 장모체 다 내거래지.
For the physical posture, it is important to sit completely straight, to have your spine, your back completely straight, because in that way the energy will naturally go onto like your navel, and so then the union of the winds will naturally come about. So have a straight back.
고월 밤에 제에 제고 가보던 법에서 봐도 하가보는 바는 거고 여다와 바디 원제 봐도 아마 보도는 매고도 말 보도 좀 봐지게 해서 강접서 염내 로그 제고 저거 여다와 잠저 보면 잔 메롱그 때베 바다 베베 때메 젤라메 바베 사스가 루저도 루토지랑 지는 거 초코네 더더더 사절라 바베 디와루지 내로니부 진저라 섬전랑 탐제대동 더 탐증어 잠미로그 대기 뭐라서 뭐저도 그 상호지고도 저 소리 좋거든요. 잠벌 사자선 우지 저 호지도 뭐 진정네요. 로마의 교훈의 교정 템범밤도 저 로마 강배 보관의 상황에서 소교배 벌써 저 소저 루타다 강화 강화저 보고 온 대차마 조다 아비샤야 홍 omshara heraka bariya hebeda yaranza yade namate sova yamanda avishaya tamaya rara tala tala hong ata onno yamanda jana avishaya 주저번라 자다 낭시 저be 로메 가슴마 장초통 먹다고는 반하는 먹 따나지 저당 가도가리 살 라다 당가를 따는 저게 남가를 따지 제가 다 먹지 먹다고는 다 먹다고는 먹지 세따라 라니 먹다.
And so next, you're instructed to, so since your blindfold is covering your eyes, you should gaze to the space below the blindfold, so looking down and looking to the little bit outside of the blindfold. And so the question then is, what color do you see? Or you can just look at the mandala or at the tanka and then see what color appears to you.
주제말라 자다나 로메 가설 말장 차오도 좋나 갈, 셀, 말, 양, 차, 워, 통. 갈, 셀,
Sir,
말,
Mar,
양,
Chang,
차,
Cha,
워, 통.
Wo, Tong.
약속도 로 약속 산 거예요.
So then the disciples are either white, yellow, red, green, or rainbow colors.
야다 바예전 고르더라다 그 로마다가 로마 조바데 알하노를 여르바네 손음지다 배다 좋은데 그저 제한다는 저를 강게 노던 저 어서는 태양 제도 와들 저거 저제 저디서 고설을 먼저 나서 오 다다 메소드 이제 저걸 사람 편에 다 저걸 방에 오고서 돈나더니 다다 그런 저걸 매야 랑도 대시에 때문에 담을 다
So now we are casting a flower onto the mandala. So think that you are now casting this flower. So you can then open your eyes and think that your body ripens into the form of the deity wherever the flower had fallen.
사게 메도 철랑성 제제다서 메도 저걸 파욕 들때 공천난 그래지 메도도 덕고야 보자고 요래 사게 나와레스
And so you think that you have received this flower and you have cast it into the mandala, and it is now having cast it into the mandala, then the deity gives or returns this flower to you. So then you should hold on to it really well because it was given to you by the deity. So now please remove the blindfold and look at the mandala. So now they're casting the flower. So now So now as you're casting the flower, basically what you're introduced to here is that Yamantaka's mandala, the fivefold deity, is actually complete within your own body. So you cast the flower, think it is returned to you by the deity. And so now we take a break and just sustain awareness of the Hung when you have your lunch, and do not forget about the Hung or the Om Ah Hung Vajra recitation. And then in the afternoon, we will receive the actual empowerment.
다 세 신이 조금 아요래 그 나랑그 리더라 베네디 랑 생거나 이 다다 유몽마디 시간 저렇게 신이 조금 아라라 상거래 베는 잡을링 사강을 가리 창나 미치 속라 대사고 세지 속사 찍어 속라 생조왕아 조왕아 낭유몽아 대리와요래 지람지 오 다다 이 사티조콜로 나티조콜로 인티조콜로서 자를 보여서 거요 사티조콜로는 잡을링 사강대다 나티조콜로도 몇개가 속고 차서 제제 창거요래 이제 사천매롱 조왕아 샘남파리 대비 사다를 봐 사티로랑 또 나벌레가 사강도 몇개를 위로 창거요래 대사에 다나지니 시간을 줘줘 이디면은 이제 쪽바라고 차고요 당시 오 비만보 독성 오 삼아 쪽바래 예세 가라고 이런 통도요에 시로 대선되지 자다다 소시라지 이걸 막셀로야 하는데 또
So on the outer level, there is the fivefold Yamantaka deity, and on the inner level, that is actually complete within your own body. And within your own mind, the 5 afflictions are transformed into the 5 wisdoms. And you recognize that the fivefold Yamantaka deity is complete within yourself. And actually, whatever exists in this entire universe is complete within the body of one individual. And because the outer universe consists of the 5 elements, and so does our body. And the 5 elements are connected to the 5 afflictions. Also, in the context of the Kala Chakra empowerment, His Holiness the Dalai Lama explains that there is the outer, inner, and other aspect of Kala Chakra. The outer aspect of Kala Chakra is the outer universe, the world. The inner aspect of Kala Chakra is the body of one individual, wherein the entire universe is actually contained, complete. For example, the body consists of earth, water, fire, wind. Earth, for example, is flesh and bones and so on. And then the space element is one's own mind. So the entire universe is complete within one's own body. And when the mind becomes pure, then the 5 afflictions become the 5 wisdoms. That is, when there is no grasping at duality, we all merge into one. So now it seems that there are a lot of people here, for example, but without a dualistic mind, one can see that although there is this appearance, we all are actually one, connected. So more on that in the afternoon. There's not so much time now because Rinpoche still has a few more things to recite.
송고 가는 바 죽섬 우서 상처버 주디 보면은 세제도 제자람지 나도 세제도 제가 바때 와시 보면 많이 결랑이다 보면 되는데 야 정말 진지 시 사자서 농도 대중도 좀 정말 제대로 좀 말한다 더 그런 전화도 뭐 잡도 좀들어서 나나 뭐 대나 혹시 뭐 되지 예 아주 뭐 소지 어떻게 공부가 또 공부 카스와 또 거는 저거 전부 뛰는 때 봐지만 무슨 보면 봐도 그래서 지지 소홀 다 맞다별 지지 잘못 잡아서 저거를 됐다 다때 참아대 랑랑그 저거 때 차상대 이제는 내야 요래 그래서 민수로 되다가 그리고 또 보신 강도 민들은 뭔가 편이 시간 민도래 애들이 때 서로 대상 없이 다다나 참자게
So that was just a visualization also on the various protective spheres of Yamantaka that many of the Yamantaka practitioners are familiar with. We also have an image. of that. And so basically, the entire mandala together with the protective spheres are all complete within one's own body. By nature, they abide within one's own body. And then when one ripens, then one ripens into the Sambhoga Kaya and the Pure Land of the Sambhoga Kayas. That is when the 5 afflictions have ripened into the 5 wisdoms. So I will give more explanation on that in the afternoon, but for now we will stop the teachings.
eigentlich von der Grundbeschaffenheit her Urbewusstheit oder Weisheit ist. Und wo das bewusst wird, ist es dann wie ein äußeres Sambhogakaya Mandala auch sichtbar. Das ist der Punkt, wo wir jetzt hier in die Pause übergehen.
Sancho,
Changcho,
Semcho,
Semcho,
Rinpoche,
Rinpoche,
Maji,
Makye,
Panam,
Panam,
Ji Jerje,
Gyögyöjik,
Ji Ba,
Gyeba,
Nyamba,
Nyamba,
Mi Bar Yang,
Mebayang,
Gong Le,
Kongne,
Gong De,
Kongdo,
Pe War Jo.
Pervasho.
Om Wangi Shorama, Om Waki Shorama, Om Waki Shorama,
Om Wagi Swarima, 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 Om Wagi Swarima. Om Wagi Svarim Om Wagi Svarim